We are live. Okay. All right, we're live. And this is my first time trying YouTube live. And so just kind of bear with me a little bit. I'm trying to get things in frame because it's doing things all its own sort of way. So we're getting into frame. And let's see. Here we go. We're over here. Nobody's really on here yet anyway. Look at all of these glorious bikes in the background. What is going on? I've got chaos going on in here. And usually this is something that I would do. Whoa, sleeve check. So this is crazy late. All right, let's see if we can get this in here. So what I've been doing is trying to get myself prepared for a track day this weekend. And I've got a tire that I could probably use. And quite frankly, I probably should use it. But I'm down to the wear bar here. This is a Q4 I was using last year. And I wouldn't be really messing with this, except, and I can show you here in a second, this is just my GSXR 1000 tire chain, or the tire spare wheel here. And what I got is my spare wheel, and I've just had this mounted on the Gixxer, the tire slayer, just to overwinter it in my garage, because it does reach about freezing in here sometimes. I try to keep it above that, but you know, usually I like to have spent rubber on my bike that isn't going to be usable. And last year, you know, I got these Michelins from my friend, and they had bought them and used them for a day. And there's plenty of meat left on the bone on these things. And they're the size that I use. So I thought, you know, I'll scoop them up off of them. I got 2 of these and 2 fronts, and it was for a very modest amount. So why not use it? Let's not waste it. So I'm going to put this is I think this is a cup, 2CT plus power cup. Yeah, power cup 2. So I'm going to use these tires. As far as what I've read, you can run street pressures in them. That's what I like to do. So I'm going to rip this Q4 off and put this power cup 2 on and have it as a spare, because, and I'm going to show you in a second, I don't know who's watching here, so forgive me. Oh. Chaos in the garage. This really grinded my gears. I got this 3-inch roughly, and it's going to be hard to show it. Let's see if you can see it. It's right here. This 3-inch freaking screw. And this tire that would have gotten me through the entire last weekend, and now it's scrubbed. And you know, yeah, I've got some plug patches that I'm going to use this on for like an emergency backup for somebody for a street tire. But for the track, I don't care who you are, it's not happening. All right, I'm going to get my 14 millimeter real quick. I did a quick oil change on the DRZ last night. So I got my 14 millimeter with my socket on my 3/8 drive. So I'm going to install that real quick and put it where it belongs. And we're going to get this road on the show. And yes, that's how I meant to say it. Okay. So yeah, probably some better ways of doing this, but we're going to achieve our purpose. it appears that I may have misplaced my special tool. No, I didn't. I put it on my NoMar paste. Okay. So I'm kind of putting myself on the spot. I hope we got somebody watching here. That'd be great. It's kind of an impromptu thing. I like to do this on my Instagram. Oh, that's the wrong side. So I like using these little tools so I don't have to use the Schrader valve, remove the Schrader valve. But if I do, I'll remove the Schrader valve. But this piece here is just a plug that comes in contact with the valve itself. And it just lets our tire pressure out so I can set it down and break the bead. While that's letting the air out of it, I'm going to show the tire that was on there. This is a 255 that I used at my buddy Marvin's. But it was a slick, and this thing is massive. I also had to take my rear hugger off. There's a lot of good laps left in that tire. But it was a little bit cooler and scrubbing some of the hard off of it at the track day. I did that. So that was kind of exciting to get some experience with the slick, because on the big bikes or even my GSXR 750, I never used a slick before. And let alone in the combination of having a slick with a DOT front. But it got me through the track day. You know, I had some carnage on my Supermoto, which I was using as my backup, but just to finish out the day. Something catastrophic happened to its engine. It's good, it's back over here behind me. I have my backup or original engine or whatever you want to call it in there. So that means that I'm without a backup engine, so we've got to be careful. So, and this is a real impromptu thing that I was doing, so I'm not really set up too good for it. I just wanted to do it tonight and see if YouTube Live would let me. But we're going to try it out and see how it goes. Alright, looking for my other bar. Oh, here it is, right here on the ground. And so what I'm doing is just setting up my bead breaker. Yeah, you can see it. Okay, where's my bottle? I got another bottle that has my squirt bottle for lube. I'm just going to squirt that on here. It's probably not necessary at this point, but and all I'm doing is just breaking the bead. Easy does it. This is a used tire, and you know, I dismounted it from the wheel I was using it on. And I know where I did the last track day with this tire because of how it appears. It was in Hastings, Nebraska on their brand spanking new surface, which was beautiful last year. I loved it. A little fun fact, this is a 6-inch wheel. So that means it's rated for a 190. Oh great, I can use the big bar on this. Yeah, setting that over there. I'm just gonna go ahead and go. I'm gonna go disc side up since it sits a little lower profile. This is a used wheel. I bought it off of eBay, in which, you know, some people might have some opinions about that. That's fine. So So I'm just fitting the wheel on the spools here. Yeah, some people have the quick turn ones on here, but I like my spools. And a lot of people that have the NoMars, they like their quick turns, and they like that overhead piece. I like these solid rods that go straight through because I think it's their Classic HD, and I think even their Cycle Hill now has the overhead piece as an option. I want nothing to do with it. I like this Cycle Hill that has the different size bars on it. There we go. Hopefully I have it on the right holes here so I don't have to redo this. I think this will put the appropriate amount of clamping force on there for me. If not, we'll just have to start over again. And keep in mind that we have this camera on reverse action right now. Let me just test it here. That's plenty. So I'm going to give it a couple squirts here. Okay. And I am going to mount and balance this tire. And I'm going to also bring my tire changer with me to the track. So what I've done here is the NoMar tip has an anvil head it's kind of flat, and then it's got some tips on each side of it, and once you get it under the bead, you turn it sideways, and then you can raise. What I just did here is raise the tire off the bead. You may not be able to see that, but just trust that that's what I'm doing. And all I'm doing is using that bar as a fulcrum to be able to raise the tire up off of the wheel, which it is. So I'm raising it up. And when I'm doing somebody else's at the track, I usually have somebody, especially if I'm doing their tire, I usually have them hold the opposite side up. Yep. I'm putting the spot on Dewey here. Yep. Yeah. And I will admit I just got done doing a bunch of wheelies for feelies in an undisclosed location by where I live, and I am somewhat fatigued. This really isn't that hard. There we go. There we go. I kind of forced it. Off of there. And this is a good 190/55 for somebody that would want to run it on the street. So, real quick, I'm going to grab my towel, clean off this wheel a little bit. And my buddy Marvin, who spoons his wheels, or his tires on his wheels at the track, he dry mounts his tires, but he doesn't use any lube. And this is just the NoMar paste. NoMar paste. I'm just putting a little bit on this wheel because I want this tire to slide on the bead. I'm going to put just a little bit on the top the very top of the wheel here. Okay. But he dry mounts his tires, and a lot of times it takes a larger amount of air pressure to seat the bead. I don't want to do any of that. Yeah. Now, we're going to do a little sciencing right here. Okay, so this is the clockwise side of the tire. Now, the clockwise side of the tire will be the right-hand side of the tire. That has the least amount of use. The track I'm probably going to use this tire on the most is going to be Hallett. And I'm going to mount this tire reverse. I'm going to have it technically in flipped mode. Well, no, I'm not. This thing's in good shape. I'll have it set up for Hastings. So I'm going to put it how it's supposed to, and I can easily flip this tire. And I'll just flip it on location if I have to. It don't matter to me. So I'm just putting a little bit of lube on the bead. My buddy Marvin, what he does is he doesn't use any lube, especially on the tire that he's going to be running that day, because he's had tires literally spin on his wheel, and that's no fun. I wouldn't recommend that. So yeah, I'm going to just mount this traditionally. You can see this has got a massive chicken strip on there. You can tell they weren't having a great time. And yeah, this is the clockwise. Hey, look, I have I had my indicator here. I located it just a second ago. Where are we at? I saw it. For crying out loud. Yeah, this is the clockwise side. All right. So I'm going to look and see if we have our tire mark. There isn't one. Actually, this is right. This would be perfect. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to use our barcode as our tire mark, our valve stem point, we'll say. And this is the clockwise side. Yeah, clockwise side. And I'm going to mount this tire with this barcode on the top. And all I'm doing here is I'm just pushing the first bead on here. And I'm just going to work it. I shouldn't have to spoon this at all. Yeah. There we go. Put a little crease on this, so yeah, pushed it out. So I'm centering up this barcode mark because there isn't like a dot that I can see. And I apologize for the kind of fogginess. That's just the way she goes on this video. It's going to be that way. We're trying it out. We're tipping our toe in the water. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use our yellow thing, which is a bead keeper, not a beekeeper. And I like putting that at the point of the valve stem. Now we're going to use this end of the NoMar tool, and we're going to push this tire on the top side onto the wheel. Hopefully I can display this really good for you. I'm going to be in the way at first. And all I'm really doing, again, I'm using the fulcrum again. But I'm using it in a different way, and I have a foregrip here to hold on to it. And some people might just think, well, I got this in the groove, I can just horse this thing on here. Well, to a certain extent, you might be able to. And you can see that my hip level is against this fulcrum. And this is a slightly used tire, so this is going to be a little bit more malleable. But when you get to this half-ish point, you're going to start noticing some resistance. What's going on is this tire, both beads are being pushed, or at least the bottom beads pushed against the wheel where it would normally be sitting. And what you got to do as you progress it is you got to lift the bottom piece, the bottom bead off of the wheel edge surface where the beads would be mating. So what you find is as you raise it up and get it towards what some people, like a dirt bike, would be like the drop center or just the center of the wheel, you increase the diameter of the tire by clasping it together, and that's why some people have luck with the zip tie technique. Oh, it got loose on me and my bead keeper came off of there. Shame on you, bead keeper. You didn't keep the bead. Yeah. I stopped and talked is what the problem was. All right. For shame, for shame. So I'm going to stop talking and just get the job done. Again, I'm just lifting on the back side and pushing, I'm stepping around it and I'm pushing it on. And just like that, we're done putting the tire on the wheel. Now I'm rotating it back to where my barcode is in place. Also, right now what I'm doing is I'm removing my evacuator, if you will, my tool, and I'm just putting that in my box because I'm taking this thing to the track with me. To make a little side cash, maybe. Maybe not. We'll see. As crappy as the weather is probably going to be, if anybody's got any rain tires, I'll be throwing them on there. But I'm not going to ride my bike in the rain, even if I do have rain tires. I just don't wanna. I don't wanna. Well, thank you, notification, for making noise on my live. Shame on you. Okay, we're shutting that down. Sorry about that, my friends. We're taking a bit of an intermission to take care of that real quick. I'm going to finish this process up. I may have to get loud and turn my air compressor on. I don't know how much pressure is in it, but we'll check that. And once we get this dismounted here, dismounted from the tire changer, that is. So it's just reversing the process of getting it off of the spools. We got a little bit of a stiff situation there. We're just going to see if we can set the speed. I will probably, some people are stuck in their ways and they want to do things a certain way. I leave the Schrader valve in place. I think we're leaking our air out. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Usually, doing what I'm doing here. So that seems to be the area where I have a problem. Well, that stinker. Did I get a bad tire? I'm gonna get loud and see if I can hit this with enough air pressure to get it to inflate. So I'm gonna get loud real quick. I apologize ahead of time. When you do things live, stuff happens. Hopefully they didn't give me a bad tire. I would be upset at them. Feeling the air right here. I've never, ever had this kind of problem before. So what I'm finding here, yeah, on this side, it's not making enough contact. So I'm manually trying to handle this sucker. This probably isn't going to work. Oh yeah. We got it. Alright, we're going to have the beam set here in a second. Watch your ears. 1, 2. Yeah, so that's kind of one of those things that can happen is different tires. And I'm looking for my tire pressure gauge, so forgive me. Oh, there it is, right there. Hiding in plain sight. Some of these different tire sidewalls are going to have their own characteristics, and that's just something I just learned about this Michelin. Yeah, sitting there about 27 psi, that's fine. All right, so something that I had to do with this wheel is I had to borrow a rotor bolt from it because there was one spontaneously missing from the tire slayer. So I haven't gotten a replacement bolt just yet, so I'm going to put a surrogate bolt in there to take up the weight of that area. what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my tire changer or my tire balancer over here, and we're going to balance this rear tire, and what we'll do is we're going to wrap this up and then we'll be done. So again, it's kind of impromptu. I wasn't really planning on going to YouTube and do this, but I was like, let's do something different. And something different we did do. Dewey, what are you doing? We do something different. That's what we do. Okay. And this is my balancer, which is also my truing stand. That's great for it. Okay. Getting my components in line. Stick with me now. Okay. Shoved and moved some things around. I've got to get my act together tomorrow. Get ready to go to the track. Here they are. All right, pro tip, Dewey pro tip, always keep extra batteries around. Don't use those don't turn them in for the core, or if you buy them off the interwebs. Pro tip also, go to my friend Nathaniel and Corey's page, they're Parts Unlimited dealers. Tell them that Dewey's Garage sent you, and join their Facebook group, Corey and Nate's Garage Sale. Answer the questions and get in touch with the moderators on there, and they will get you some tires or any aftermarket parts for a good deal. Especially use promo code, all right, let's start over again. Use promo code Dewey's Garage for a good deal. Offer expires in. Anyway, I use these batteries to kind of, whenever I have this bikes on a stand or something, and I take a wheel off or this or that, and it allows something for the, like say the front wheel, if I take the rear wheel off, something for it to balance on. That's all. Or sometimes, like if I'm doing suspension work, I'll put one under both wheels, because odds are they're going to be going down to the ground at some point, because your suspension is being removed, for, if that's the case. So I'm just putting this donor bolt in there, and I know it probably doesn't weigh the exact weight of the ones that are in here, but it's close. It's taking up the space, and I will remove it and put one of the other ones in there. But I've got some other ones, some replacement ones, or it's all or nothing. So I'm just getting a whole deal of them. So I'll have some spare. Dewey's Garage will be a full-service mobile garage at the track event. No, I won't. I'm gonna be riding unless it's raining, which it'll probably be doing. What a bummer. But all I do, there we go. My dexterity's going. The day's been just pretty brutal. Those of you that might know me personally know that I work in a vineyard during the summertime. And my grapes, my vines, took a freeze, or a couple of freezes in the late part of April, and they are in bad shape. And some might say, well, Dewey, you'll be able to go and do a whole bunch of stuff because you'll have all this free time because no grapes. Well, that's not the case, and the reason why is it almost means I have to do more work when you don't have a crop. Okay, so real quick, I gotta level this balancer. It doesn't have any tippies. Okay. Real quick, I'm gonna grab my knife, and it's just inside over here. So, I'm being a bad host yet once again. But we're gonna wrap this up real fast. We're gonna wrap it up, okay? So we're gonna remove our old weights, and a lot of times they're adhesive weights. Well, that's what they are. This one's got. I'm gonna pay attention. Pardon me, to how much I've added. That is added here. It looks like they're all the same weights, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. And I'm going to look and see what value they are, because if these are competent people that did this, it might be close. All right, so they're saying it's a 1/4 ounce. So that means I could have up to 2 ounces on this wheel entire combination to balance it out. Because, you know, this is a used wheel. This is for the 05. I don't know whatever years it goes on, but 05, 06, GSXR 1000. It might fit other years. I don't know. But it's important to remove the old weight. And my weight, when I do it, I'll have a strip of tape over the top of it. And in general, you've got to do that to pass tech, if you do have tech, which I hope you have tech at the track. Our tech, you know, they'll ding you if they see it, but they're not really crazy about it, because they just assume that you're going to be a competent person most of the time, or you're going to have your stuff done by somebody that's competent, like me. Okay, so now we have our weight off of the tire and wheel combination. I'm making sure that I don't have a bunch of junk on this. We have our surrogate bolt on the other side. I'm also making sure that I have all my, oh, here we are. I'm going to spin you a little bit. Sorry about that. Hey, there's a 45 over there in the background. How much are you guys appreciating paying more for everything? It ain't because of this guy. Yeah, we need to spend more money. When the government spends more money, that means that we get to spend more money on everything that we have to buy to keep our lives going. And if our wages don't increase to go with that, we're screwed. We will not be able to. Me in my garage. Yeah, government sucks. Hey, thanks for joining the live today. I appreciate you. Let's see. Forgive me. Am I someone that knows you? Or are you someone that knows me personally? I'm not familiar with your channel. Yeah, I wonder if you could be one of my DRZ bros. And I apologize if I don't know you. So I'm just doing a balanced job on here. Thanks for interacting, by the way. But you know, I can be opinionated, and I have my opinions, but I'm not forcing them on anybody. Okay, California. Thanks a lot. Well, I hope that things are going well for you in the People's Republic of California. And all right, so something major had just happened here with this wheel, entire combination. It's rocked back and it's rocked forward, and it's going to come back, and it's going to do this. It's going to do this, and we're going to reach a point where it stops. And at the top where it stops is going to be the lightest point of the tire and wheel. And this may be redundant for you. This is just how it goes, and it's a patience thing. You know, some people want to hurry this along. So me and my garage, I appreciate you for joining this live and your interactions. I hope you're a subscriber. If not, and you don't want to be, that's okay, but I would really appreciate it if I did earn your subscription. I've got some good DRZ content, some track riding stuff, and just a little bit of in between some projects that I've done. WR250R, WR250X engine rebuilds, my own engine rebuilds, my DRZ builds. Okay. We've reached a standpoint, a stopping point. So I'm just going to quickly eyeball this. Looks like our L here for Michelin is our high point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rock this L over here to perpendicular on the other side. And yep, she rolls up, no problem. All right, here's our L, and I'm going to take it to perpendicular closest to me. And if it rolls up, that's confirmation. Here it comes. That's where we need to be. So, okay, that's where our laying on the side. Got my jug of alcohol. Hey, that's great. Appreciate it. Thanks for chiming in. The DRZ content is something, I mean, here's a story time as I'm doing what I'm doing here. Let's see, you may not see it. You can see the back half of it over here. This is my YZ400F. And that's where it kind of started this journey. Okay. And, you know, I wanted to do some supermoto stuff because some of my friends at the track, they would bring their supermotos out sometimes and use it kind of as dessert. And we're talking about the big track, okay? The road course. And really, here in the Midwest, a lot of road courses, where there are some, they don't have huge straightaways on them. And you can almost get away with it on a supermoto. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a dessert bike and go to some of these kart tracks where it's cheaper. And so that's where I found this. It's a 99 YZ400F. And I was able to find a supermoto set on it. And, you know, sometime we'll look at this at some point. We'll look at this. This will be a project that we'll look at. The brake setup on this, the adapter, this is a radial mount on the forks, or what it would be if you were a factory, a radial mount, but it's axial, I guess it would be, flat mount stock on this thing. But there's a machined block made here in, you know, around here in Wichita, Kansas, that's where we're at. There's a lot of aircraft in this area. And this guy, he's a machinist, of course. He made this block adapter for this front end for my friend's YZ250F that has the same, it had the same wheel specs for it, and he was getting his feet in the game of riding supermoto. So, I mean, it just fell into the place, you know. August, I bought this bike. September, I bought this this wheel set with the tires on it, and I started riding at the road course track, and I got out and I did a couple of kart track days. It was fantastic. It was just it's such a ride when you go out on the road course with it, because depending on your tires, street tires versus slicks versus supermoto slicks they're not the same. Let's just say that in one way, because they are it's in the rear, it's a 165, 55, 17, and that's a big difference between a 160, 60, 17 as far as clearance goes. But anyway, I got into it, and man, I've done a lot of work on this YZ400F to get it street legal. Man, I was like, man, supermoto is fun. And I was riding on the street, and I was like, man, I need a street supermoto eventually. Okay, so I got my weight on here. I'm gonna start off with 3 and 3 on this side, because I think whoever did this was a competent mechanic, because the point where I found was a point where weights were added before. But anyway, I got into this. Okay, so when would that be? That'd be like 2015 when I first got this bike, this YZ400F. Okay. I'm just gonna mount that right here. And I was like, man, this is such a fun time. And I was going back and forth street in it and this and that, and had a great time. And I was like, this thing could be so much better if it was, more of a displacement closer to the YZ 450s, that a lot of times the 450s were what I had, and it's a 400. And then I was like, maybe if I can get an engine and build it out and get a wide ratio transmission on it, I can maybe handle the road course a little better. And I did. I built this engine. I got a 426 engine and put it in there, and I built it out. Got some different cases. I did a bunch of work on it, and I just taught myself. All right, real quick, what we've done here is I've added, this is 1.5 ounces. Remember, we were saying 2 ounces, and this is statically balanced. This is what it's called, statically balanced. Our weight is right here where my index finger is, here and here, and we took it to parallel with the ground, and this thing is not moving. It's static balanced. So there's dynamic, which is easier to throw off. So basically we're done at this point. But I'm gonna continue. Story time isn't over yet. I'm not done with my story time. I hope you're still hanging in there. I hope it's entertaining. Thanks for your viewership on my DRZ stuff. And do get on my, if you do Instagram or one of my videos, go in depth. Tell me what you want me to do, or if you have any questions about that DRZ stuff or whatever. All right, fast forward a little bit. I built this thing out, and over the course of time, I've had some different engine failures. Some of them was because I was a mechanic and learning my own lessons. And those are the most valuable lessons, because otherwise they're a wasted mistake. If you don't learn from it, it's a wasted mistake. Don't be sorry about mistakes that you make. Make those mistakes and learn from them. Don't just kick yourself about them. Learn from them. So I was going back and forth to it. I was building this thing up. Great. And then I just started having some carburetor problems. And I was like, man, I'm going to have to split the cases, or split this FCR slant carb. That's what they came with. That was the version that was out there. It wasn't the MX, which is the creme de creme. And I was like, you know what? I was friends with a guy named B-Rad Moto for a while, and he started working for Electron carburetors, and so I got an Electron carburetor for it. And I just did so many different things on this. It's got a WR flywheel and stator on it, so I can have headlights and whatnot. I did all the work for it. I put a suspension on it. I was like, man, this thing doesn't belong on the street. I want a street supermoto. So I looked and looked, and I was just trying to put myself in a position to where I could buy one. And I had an SV1000 for the longest time. It was just getting some miles on it, and it was starting to have some troubles that I wasn't really keen on. So I thought, you know, if I can sell this SV1000, I'm going to buy a DRZ 400. I heard they're great. And I did buy one. And it's actually the one that I have on my channel, the Doozy, the gray, the 2016 model. And I was like, man, this thing sucks. It doesn't have any power. And I was like, well, I know how to wrench on these other bikes. I'm going to give it some power. So I've done several things. There's so many other stories I could tell about it. But, you know, at the time I was friends with my friend Nathaniel. And he ended up getting a DRZ, and we talked about doing stroker big bores and all this cool, awesome, super awesome, sorry about that, stuff. And so I stroker big bored this bike, and I got an FCR 39 for it, and I just did so many different things, and I'd like to share the things in which I've done. Yeah. This is great content. Good night. Keep up. All right. Thank you. Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for your viewership, and we'll see you next time. So I did the DRZ, and I was talking to him about yeah, this thing needs to be a big bore, or a stroker, big bore. I had bought cams for my factory engine, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty good, but it still just wasn't quite what I wanted it to be. So I was like, you know, Nathaniel, if I had an engine and I had parts and you sent them to me, I'd build you an engine. And I did that very thing. And I got his going, and I ended up, 2020, I got COVID at the end of the year, and it was bad. I didn't like it. But during that time, I built his engine. And then after I recovered and was safe, I went to get his bike because he just sent me the parts. I never met this guy, but we were friends, and there was trust there. So we met each other. We had some Hardys, which sealed the deal, where we met in Columbia, Missouri, and I loaded his bike into my truck, and I brought it back down here, switched out his engine because we used a donor engine on his bike. And I was like, wow, this thing's got the balls, you know, it's really got the power. But, you know, after I installed it, and I had that on this channel, and, you know, I broke it in, and I got myself a donor engine, and I built my bike out. And I mean, I really pushed it to the limits, but I got it built, and he and I met up, and we went down to a ride. It ended up being in a complete SHIT show, but we still ended up making fun out of it and having a good trip and getting some good eats along the way and just having fun. And we just became friends, and you know, we worked through the engines on it, and he still got his. I went and did a mini motorcycle race on his XR100 on the go-kart track last fall. I rode that bike again, and it's just like mine. It's just like mine. It's got the same power, and that's the way it should be when it came out. It's so fantastic. So I'm really happy with it. You know, I'm active on Thumper Talk. I talk to people about that, the different builds. And there's just people that just share so much, in my opinion, bad information. And I'm just like, for crying out loud, people, don't give bad information to good people. You know, I was just on Thumper Talk. Someone had an FCR 39 on their DRZ 400. And they're like, oh, it's sputtering. It's not running right. Well, they're running 6 sizes too small of a main jet in their carburetor. And if you don't know what that means, that is a venturi. That is the amount. It restricts the amount or increases the amount of flow of fuel to your intake. And I mean, it's It's the lifeblood of your engine, other than air and spark and compression. That missing component. If you don't have enough fuel, you might, if you have just on the minuscule edge of it functioning properly, you can make the most power for a while until you burn something up, because that's a lean condition. But anyway, I was sitting there trying to share some information with some people, and they just won't accept it, because there's these people, just like anywhere else on the internet, they're just sharing bad information. I'm a real person, and I'm not a know-it-all, a real know-it-all person. I'm sharing good information. This is the platform that I can do it on. I do a lot of small projects on my Instagram, and what it does allow me to do, it goes to my personal. It's all linked to my personal. But the thing is I want to move some of my wrenching things to a live, unless it's going to be like a real drawn out project, so I can share those things. And this is the way in which I want to do it. So here's where we're at. We've got a mounted and balanced tire and wheel here, and it's going to be a good backup for me or one of my friends at the racetrack. I've got a new Q5S, so it's more the street oriented tire that's on the bike right now, and I just hope that I get a chance to use it this weekend other than being in the rain. So we're wrapping things up for the night, and what I want to do is I want to wrap things up for the night with a little bit of a garage tour. I think that would be a good thing to do. So I'm going to wrap it up with a garage tour. I'm going to look here again. Forgive me for being a little bit green at this. Whoa, extreme close-up. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, so I don't think I can flip. Oh, I can. I can flip this picture. So we're going to do a little garage tour. Okay, there we are. And this is my YZWR 400F. Forgive these extra tires. Guys, gotta make some money, and that's my bread and butter. Here's my spare wheel for my GSXR 750. Oh, and this is that block I was telling you about. Oh, there it is. So this is a piece of aluminum, that was used to mount this massive Brembo to. And again, this is slightly lowered, and I've got Race Tech components in it. Let's see here. How's my tire wear? Oh, sorry, I rotated the device. I apologize. How's my tire wear, peoples? Woo! All right, so we toured that. This is my, This is my DRZ 400E, which is also a stroker big bore, but it's also got wide ratio gears. That's a stock E model head. Ooh, look at there. New, brand spanking new D606. And this is tagged. And this is not tagged. This is my YZ250 two-stroke supermoto that I built out this winter. The jury's not out on that thing yet, but I wasn't using it for off-road like I was intending to. This is my GSF 600S, my Bandit. It's got 50 some odd thousand miles on it. And I had this even when I was in college over 20 years ago. This is my 2018 Grom that I've been learning wheelies on. And here's the doozy. This is the doozy. Kickstart and all. And that seat concepts, tall seat on there. I've got the Power Bomb header with the Two Brothers slip-on exhaust. So that's not new. I stretched that trouble, something that a person that works at an exhaust shop probably would do in less than probably 2 minutes, but oh well. But this is a stroker big bore in this thing. And let's see, let's go around over here. I'm running my GPR 300 tires on here. Let's see if we can look at the FCR. It's down there. everything else. Now I got the stock look on it here. And this is the WR450F that I'm working on for a friend. We're going to have to do a needle adjustment on this to get the fuel to it sooner. Well, at least that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to try to get more fuel to it sooner. And if that makes it worse, we're going to go the other direction. So this is for a friend, and you know, there's a lot of different things, components. He's recovering from a neck injury, so it's something that I can really take my time on. So when I get it, my jetting adjusted as good as I can, because this is just a terrible exhaust. Hopefully we get an exhaust on this thing and I can get it proper, because this is just awful. I don't like this exhaust. It leaks a little bit over here at the header, and I just don't like it. I don't like it. I might have to take it off of there and work with it, but you know, there's always something that people just halfway do, and I know it wasn't his doing, but WR450 is a great bike. It's a great bike. They started, this is an '09 model, they started having, they started cut at some point the amount of oil capacity on them. So this has roughly a quart, which is unfortunately just, you know, could stand to have some more, because the DRZ roughly has 2 quarts. But anyway, our garage tour is nearing its end, and I'm just going to show you my wall over here. Can I? Oh, it won't let me zoom. Okay. So here's my wall of tire stickers, and this is just since I started keeping them. So there's that. All right, I'm going to switch back around to me and my ugly mug. I just want to say thank you for those that are watching, and I don't know if this will keep for future, but we're going to try to keep this one on here. And let me know. Comment on this. Let us know. Let me know what you'd like me to do, that you've seen me do, that you might want me to do on this platform live. You know, anything can happen, just like kind of like setting our bead and stuff. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time. I think we are Dunsky. I don't know what to do. What do we do? Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Yes, I want to stop streaming. Thanks for watching.